The Herd, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Very excited. In less than 15 minutes, Trent Dilfer stops by. He'll be magnificent today on all we saw this weekend. Joy Taylor is joining me. This is such a great time. I feel very lucky. You know, not everybody gets to do what they always wanted to do in life. And this is what I always wanted to do in life, and which is talk sports. But to be able to talk sports about my favorite sport. By the way, the ratings this weekend were gigantic.
All great games.
Because the games were great. Even the Indianapolis-Houston game got a little interesting in the final 7-8 minutes. But this is such an amazing sport, amazing time of the year. We had controversial calls. Good Lord, that Chargers replay. Touchdown, no touchdowns. Like, no.
It was a little frustrating.
Oh, that was just, listen, it's the replay system. I'll say this. It's a lot better today than 5-10 years ago. I can remember watching it when it first came into college football. It was a mess. All right, every Monday throughout the course of the year at this time, Colin was right, Colin was wrong, and here we go.
Where Colin was right?
Well, I not only went 4-0 in the playoff games, what was really funny is I brought 3 guests on my show Friday. And of the 12 picks, they disagreed with 11. I'll give you and these are 3 guests I love. I love these guys. Across the board, they disagreed with virtually every pick I made. Here's a sample.
Nope, you're done.
You like Seattle?
You're done. I like Seattle.
Schlereth likes them. You like them.
I'm leaning towards the Texans, and here's why. Nobody who's played in the Super Bowl has played in a road game since 2012.
There's going to be an upset this week. I'll roll the dice and say Philadelphia shocks the world.
Really?
Yeah.
So you and I are diametrically opposed on every pick.
Here's how it worked out. And by the way, they all made really good arguments for their team. Sometimes you get lucky. This week I got lucky, 4-0.
Where Colin was wrong.
If Nick Foles beats the Saints in New Orleans, I'm bringing a white flag to the show and just waving it. I surrender. I give up. I can't. I mean, it's just incredible. The kid is loose. He made some terrible throws. Now, I have said I picked Philadelphia about a month left in the regular season to make the playoffs. I love their GM. I think they have a really good roster. Their secondary's beat up, but there's a lot to like about this team. Playoff experience, but Nick Foles is remarkable. I watched him in college. He wasn't the best college quarterback in his own conference. Every source I've ever had has said he's a really, really, really high-end backup, but he is now 4-0 in the playoffs, 10-2 as a starter in Philadelphia. And the thing I like about him, in these late game situations, he is completely composed. He is not rattled in the least. And I almost think that's sort of a DNA thing. Either you're anxious or you're not anxious. I mean, he made all the plays on that last drive. Carson Wentz could not have been any better on that last drive. You can't even deny that.
Where Colin was right?
The rest of the world was freaking out after that Monday night game between the Rams and the Chiefs. Oh, there's too much offense. It looks like Canadian football. It's the Big 12. I said, take a deep breath. Wait until late December and early January. The weather's going to change. Defenses will figure it out. Some of the offensive players will get hurt. Folks, you've been watching football for 4 months. I've been watching it for 4 decades. This is the way it always works. Offenses look great the first 8 weeks. Then guys get hurt. The guys getting tackled, offensive players, get hurt. And then the backups aren't as good. And defensive coaches figure out offensive schemes like Baltimore. And then the weather gets really surly and the offenses come back down to earth. Only Dallas with 24 points hit their season average this weekend. Half the teams didn't score 20 points this weekend. 6 of the 8 teams this weekend didn't score a touchdown in the first half. This is why you keep tweaking the rules to help offense, because over the course of a season, it gets really, really hard to score in the NFL.
Where Colin was wrong.
There has never been an NBA team that I have missed more than the Minnesota Timberwolves. They fired their coach, Tom Thibodeau. I've been telling you for 3 years, you just wait. Oh, you just wait. Karl Anthony Towns, well, now he's regressed. Andrew Wiggins, invisible. I mean, I have been waiting for the Minnesota Timberwolves to pop for 3 years, and it ain't happening. And Jimmy Butler got tired of it, and now I'm officially tired of it, and now they're tired of their coach. Karl Anthony Towns, who I would have sworn 3 years ago was going to be the best center in the league, is not the same player. Andrew Wiggins is a nice kid, gives you 18. You don't remember any of them. And I've just completely whiffed on this franchise. They just never, they're 11th in the West. Not in the NBA. They're 11th in the West. I give up.
Where Colin was right.
I think the thing I'm proudest of this show is most media people just react to what happened. And we don't. Sometimes we do, but mostly we predict. We watch the games and we say, here's what's going to happen. And a lot of times we're wrong, but I like that our staff and our team has the guts to do it. And we picked the Indianapolis Colts to make the playoffs when they had a losing record. And we said, keep your eye on Indianapolis. Andrew Luck is not getting touched. And we picked up on this about week 6. We said, this offensive line, they fixed it. He's got all day to throw. They're not great defensively, but they're owning time of possession. They're not turning the ball over. Luck's getting rid of it early. And we said this team, late September, early October, when everybody bailed on them, we said this team's going to make the playoffs. They're going to sneak in, but they're going to go on a winning streak. And everything we thought has happened. They're now very good time of possession. They start very quickly. And what happens is now that defense with a lead can just rear its head back, and they've really created a really good pass rush. And Deshaun Watson was under, peril the entire game. So when you get leads and you watch the Colts now, they have 9 draft picks. They're going to draft pass rushers. And Andrew Luck is going to have leads, sit on the sideline, and watch the Colts pass rushing specialists deteriorate the opponents for the next 8 years. We bought them early. Nobody else did. Proud of it.
Where Colin was wrong.
Doug Peterson got hired by the Philadelphia Eagles as head coach. I said, he didn't even call plays in Kansas City. I know he played. He played for Green Bay. I remember that. But how do you go from not calling plays to running the Philadelphia Eagles? He's now one of the best play callers in the sport. He's 4 for 4 on fourth down calls in the playoffs as a Philadelphia head coach. And when Philadelphia had that ball in the last couple of minutes yesterday, Joy, and they were calling timeouts, and you're like, why are you calling timeouts? This guy dials up plays. I was wrong. He has been unbelievable, and I got to give him a credit. In the middle of this year, he loses his quarterback, okay? This is second year in a row. It's been man overboard. I lose my star quarterback, and he figures out. I mean, this team was on crutches to start the year. They were Green Bay. They had every reason to be awful. They had every reason to go into the tank. And Doug Peterson never stopped believing. They lost both times to Dallas. I put a white flag on them both times, and they just keep battling and battling and battling and overcoming. And Doug Peterson deserves a ton of praise. You don't do what they did this year with just players. Some of that's the guy wearing the headset.
Where Colin was right.
Well, we said young quarterbacks and mobile quarterbacks we think are going to have a rough weekend. We picked against Trubisky. We picked against Lamar Jackson. We picked against Deshaun Watson. Now, Russell Wilson is also a good pocket quarterback, so I don't count him. Listen, it is a thrower's league. That's not to say I don't like my quarterback to have mobility. I wish Phillip Rivers was a little more mobile. I wish Tom Brady was a little more mobile. But when it comes to January football, it's the quarterbacks that don't make mistakes, that don't fumble, that don't turn it over, that can get out of problems pre-snap. 3 of the 4 younger quarterbacks lost this weekend.
Where Colin was right.
We love the Golden Tate move by the Eagles and the Amari Cooper move by the Cowboys. Both teams went and acquired playmaking wide receivers. Now, Amari Cooper is better than Golden Tate, but Golden Tate, they went and acquired him, and he won the game for him on this play. He was worth a playoff W. And the NFL has changed. This is not baseball. It changes every year multiple times. Wide receivers, especially veteran guys like Golden Tate and Amari Cooper, they come in, they learn a playbook very quickly. They are amenable to coaching. They're just worth draft picks. And, college receivers may be younger and cheaper, but when you're as good as Philadelphia and you're as good as Dallas and you have those rosters and you got to win playoff games now, I'm going to roll the dice and give up picks to get an Amari Cooper and to get a Golden Tate. And Amari Cooper had over 100 yards, and it took him about 2 weeks to figure out the playbook. And they put Golden Tate in, and it took him about 3 weeks to figure out what Philadelphia does. But we love both those moves, and we loved them early, and they both were on full display this weekend. All right. Packed today. I got Trent Dilfer coming up. Look at these spots I got coming up. This show is just, people just want to advertise on this show, Joy. They're just lining up for this stuff. Trent Dilfer's around the corner. Sean Merriman, Jay Glazer. I will support Lamar Jackson, among others. We'll look ahead to next weekend. We are just starting, not even halfway home. So excited for Trent today. 66% of men lose their hair by the age of 35. I don't know. Maybe it's in the glove compartment. They can't find it. And there is a way to solve it. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Go to forhims.com. Okay? How will you feel a year from now if it's business as usual up there?